Welcome to Ride for Rights. Ride for Rights is a bike tour across America. I'm riding town to town in hopes that people will join me, come together on the four rights of freedom of speech, justice, education, and unity. If you'd like to come ride with me, check the schedule in the comments and see when I'm near your town. In addition, Ride for Rights promotes FIRE, Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the American Immigration Council, and the American Library Association. They need your help, and please consider donating. Hey guys, we're in Allegheny Commons Park West, right by the Thomas A. Armstrong statue. So this is the Pittsburgh rides. I was here for a couple days, so one of the nights I went to a benefit concert. My friends at All Together, which are doing an immigration rights benefit concerts all over town this weekend, so that's pretty cool. It was at the old Pittsburgh winery, and their basement was actually really nice. They even designed the bar for acoustics, the physical bar at bar top itself. So it was a really cool venue there. So I had fun. It was a good time. For this, it's going to be 2.5 miles to the city capitol, and then I'm going to keep going. I had another 40 miles to Smithton down the Great Allegheny Passage, which is going to be cool. We're going to take that path for quite a while that follows the Youghiogheny River. See you there. Hey guys, that was the Pittsburgh ride. So we did our 2.5 miles. We're at City Hall. Some cool ceiling. It was a nice day, cool ride. A bunch of people were outside riding, and I wish the fountain was working. That would have got some cool shots, but it was under construction. They have that big circular thing's this huge fountain. That's like their feature. Let's head to the Greater Allegheny Passage, also known as the Gap Trail. Hey guys, we're in Belle, Vernon, Pennsylvania. First part of the ride was the Pittsburgh ride, so we rode through town. That was pretty cool. I was hoping to get some nice drone shots of the water fountain. They have a huge water fountain. It was all under construction, as you could see the fencing around it. But we did get some nice shots on the Gap Trail. Once we got out of City Hall, it was pretty much immediately on there, and that was pretty much all the way till the very end of right here. Very nice trail, very well kept up. They have some visitor centers that are run by volunteers, and they sell like snacks and t-shirts and stuff. And that money goes to maintaining the trail, which I thought was cool, different sections. And yeah, the trail's really well maintained. It's very wide, very nice gravel trail. A lot of bike packers I saw. It's a Saturday and people were coming out to go to the campsites. There's campsites like all down this place. The bike packers I saw were carrying like way more stuff. Like this was definitely the glamping version of bike packing. So it's a dead flat trail, pretty easy. There was little kids doing it. There was people that weren't in great shape even doing it. So yeah, you get your stuff, you go 10 miles to the side of the river. Nice campsite beside the river, walk up to the town, get your 30 case of beer, and have fun fishing. Yeah, cool trail. We all saw 4 rivers today. So we saw the 3 rivers. We were at that apex point of the Ohio, the Allegheny, and the Monongahela. And then we followed the Monongahela down the Gap till the Youghiogheny fork, and then followed the Youghiogheny down pretty much to here. The Gap Trail was dead flat, everything around incredibly hilly. This area of Pennsylvania, Western Maryland, West Virginia is some of the hardest biking roads in America because the roads were built before road design and cars, so it was just whatever people did in the old days, and then they just paved over the carriage roads and horse trails and didn't do much of regrading or anything like that. So there's just some crazy ramps you can get around here. Up to 35%, we're not going on them. We're on a time schedule. Up to here, it was like, all right, we got a half mile, 12 to 14%, have fun. It's like, oh my God. So let's talk about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was the weirdest city I've ridden in as far as bike stuff. So it doesn't have no bike infrastructure. It doesn't have a lot of bike infrastructure. It's in the middle, but they don't sign a lot and it's weird. So sometimes they have just the picture of a bike in the middle of the street, which is like the low effort, show the bike. Sometimes they have a bike line on each side, and then sometimes they have the one thing Chicago did where they have both bike lanes next to each other on one side of the road, and then they have the 2 road lanes. But when they're switching to that, there's no signage to tell you where to go. So you're just feel like you're always in the wrong place. And then not all the roads have bike lanes. Because of the mountains, you can't tell. Sometimes you'll shoot out into like something that looks like a highway. When they do put signs out, like watch for bikers, which is an indicator to bikers that you are supposed to be there, it'll be like way after the turn. So you already didn't know if you were supposed to be on there. This is the only city where people commented about like how much they did not like bikers on my post in the Pittsburgh subreddit. And I kind of get it. Like I bet there's just people all over the place on these roads, the way they've set them up. I think if you're very familiar with the area, you're fine, but I was constantly not where I was supposed to be. A lot of cool sites though. I do like Pittsburgh food. They have good bar food. Went to the Andy Warhol Museum. That was cool. We have the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum in Santa Fe, and she kind of had her flower phase and her landscape phase, and then stuff she did when she was growing. Warhol did a lot of different stuff, so they had a lot of not his most popular stuff, but a lot of stuff he did at different ages and what he was doing. So I thought it was a really interesting museum where a lot of museums of art about single art. A museum kind of suffers because they're kind of locked into the one thing they did. His famous stuff was, the pop art with Marilyn Monroe and the Campbell's soup, but he did a lot of other interesting things that aren't as popular. But it made including those things in the museum made it very interesting. Tomorrow we're going to Confluence, all down the Gap Trail. Should be a good day, shouldn't be too hard. All right, see you tomorrow. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my socials and the charity links in the comments below. Thanks for watching.